welcome back to the Life and Listings podcast. Today I have Jessica joining us. Hey, Jessica.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. I'm really excited about this. I feel like we waited months to have you on.
We have. It's been a few months since we first scheduled the first one.
Yeah, everyone listening, we ended up having to go on a work trip randomly together on the same day that our original podcast recording date was. So when I reached out and said, hey, I have to reschedule, she's like, well, I'm also going to the same thing. So it actually worked out really well. So here we are. So for anybody that's listening in that hasn't had the pleasure of meeting you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Sure. Well, I am a mother of two. I'm 6 and 9, Evangeline and Bennett. I've been married to my husband for, I think 13 years now. We live in Burlington, Connecticut with our 3 dogs, and I lead a pretty powerful real estate team here in Connecticut. We started in 2023, recently moved from EXP to LPT. And yeah, I'm an avid trail runner. I absolutely love it. So right now I'm focused on family and business and health, and that pretty much takes up all of my time.
I mean, that feels like a pretty well-rounded set of interests for the year, right? Did you set any New Year goals type thing around those 3?
Yeah, it's funny that you should ask. Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, I think it was Nick asked me the other day what my goals were, and I rattled them off. So I would really like to place in the top 3 in my age category and at least one of the races that I've signed up for this spring and summer. I'm doing the White Mountain Endurance Cup. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's one of my goals. I'd like to take at least 4 family vacations, not necessarily local, real vacations where I can really unplug. That's another one. 300 units closed is another one. And renovating my new office and finally moving in there is the 4th.
For those of you that are listening, number 1, Jessica is like a driver. If she sets goals, she's got to hit it. So that's number 1. Number 2, if you're listening in and your goals don't include well-rounded goals, you're not including personal with the professional, you need to take a step back and you need to look at your goals again, because that is so important. So many of us are setting dollar amounts. This is how much I want to make. This is how much I want to sell. And we're not looking at things like, what are my family's goals and what are my health goals, right? We're involved in the Chet Black community, so health kind of comes with that. But so many agents just kill themselves. They're eating gas station food in the car and they're selling the 300 homes per year, but they're not going on vacation and they're not healthy. And that leads to burnout.
Yeah, that was me for a good 2-3 years while I was building my solo business.
Mm-hmm.
That was me working 80 plus hours a week, definitely not exercising, not getting enough sleep. Gosh, yeah, fast food. And then pretty much just I was so exhausted and so tunnel vision that I really, I missed my daughter growing up. You know, she's 6 now. And I missed from I don't know, I want to say from pretty much 1.5 until 4. So that's big. And now I'm making up for it big time. And being able to build out my team and create leverage has really given me that time back in order to focus on my family and my health and investing. Because at the end of the day, we do this to fund our lives, to fund the perfect life.
There's so many layers to that, right? So many people that are listening in, it's almost like society has us brainwashed that those 80-hour weeks are a necessity to be successful. And at some points there are, right? There's going to be a point in time where you might have to put in a ton of work. But I think creating that leverage in those systems to build an actual business is so important. So was there a turning point somewhere in your business where you were like, I can't do this anymore? Did you read a book? Did you have a coach that was like, no, you need to build these things so you don't have to work 80 hours anymore?
It was not an intentional decision like that. It was a slip in the quality of my work. And I just I cannot get down with that. As soon as I saw that maybe I was missing a deadline or not communicating quickly enough with a client or whatever. I just said that like something's got that was the turning point. And that's when I decided to hire a 1099 TC. And that's also what allowed my production to go from 40, 50 units a year to closer to 100 units a year. She allowed me to do that. And my clients were better taken care of, and I didn't have to worry about the paperwork. I didn't stay up until 1 a.m. anymore doing paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, I got stuck in that cycle. Like I'm good at those things. That's my comfort zone. It's predictable.
Yeah.
But like it was the best choice to give that up. And then, as I decided to form and grow the team, it just happened naturally. There was only so much I could do. Bringing on agents and training them. I certainly wasn't going to do all of my agents' paperwork. So we started off with a TC. Then I went and hired virtual for lots of different positions, and it just kind of blossomed from there.
So I want to go back to that a little bit because I went through some of the same stuff. There was a point where I had a TC, and I remember because I used a company, and I still do. She still works with a bunch of our clients that don't use our, the TC within Stacks. I remember her specifically telling the TC that was working with me, Jennifer is fully capable of doing our job over and above what we do. But there was a point I had to make a decision, right? Like, do I want to be focusing on sending things out for signature and checking dates? And then also realizing in myself that this TC was doing a better job than me because that was her sole focus. I was out driving around and running stats and have kids and blah, 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 blah. And so just like that, like things could slip or they weren't being done as quickly, or maybe I wasn't supporting my clients quite as well, or just maybe some of the things I stopped liking doing quite as much. And, that small thing like a paid at close TC to get back X amount of hours for every transaction now allows you to be able to focus on other things, whether it's more transactions or it's actually going to the gym or maybe it's picking kids up from school. I mean, you can use that time back wherever you need it to be. And it sounds like you've gotten there, right? Because now you could focus on being able to be in races and spend time with your kids and grow the team the way that you want. How many agents do you have now, Jessica?
We just brought on 22 and 23. So we've grown, we've contracted, we've grown. And this year, the aim is bare minimum 35.
Like your recruiting goals, are you looking to like make your agents on the team more productive as well as recruit into the team?
Oh, absolutely. Like John says, honoring longevity, I think is really important. Retention is big. Mm-hmm. And the market is so difficult right now that what is it, like something like 87% of agents don't make it past their first year. So recruiting is a necessity while acknowledging the talent and developing the talent that I have within and giving them opportunities for leverage as well. They want to have lives too. So being able to leverage our newer agents perhaps to give them time back that they may have otherwise spent on showings, things like that, I think they're really appreciative of.
Is there any specific tool that you invested in or you went with that made like a huge change in your business?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I love stuff like that. So Monday was massive for us because we were able to take all of our listing flows, all of our TC flow, our buyer flow, and now our recruiting flows, and put every single step. And I mean, these flows have hundreds of steps, hundreds, and then they involve their own standard operating procedure and their own documents and their own links to things. And being able to automate certain things is key. And having somebody to run all of that like behind the scenes was really important too. So my virtual assistant, my executive administrative officer, my executive admin, Jessica Magdalot, has been instrumental in setting all of that up for us. So that's been a real gift in the ops side of things. And then on the sales side of things, follow-up boss, like hands down, game-changing, life-changing. It's so easy to monitor my agent's activity, also to develop different workflows and nurturing programs. And I use so many different lead sources. So just being able to track all of that data, again, has been instrumental and has then also affected, of course, our ops flows.
So, yeah. I mean, tools like that are so important. Kind of go back to why you hired your first TC because you felt like maybe things were slipping or not being done. Tools like Monday. So we're talking like people versus tech and like where do you need leverage and where do you need to like automate? I think a lot of people instantly go with, okay, I definitely need a full-time personal assistant. I'm like, wait a second. Let's look at that first. First, definitely TC, paid it close TC. That's a no-brainer. There's zero cost until something closes. That makes a whole lot of sense. Then let's look at what you can automate, right? So do you have task lists that you want done or that you need to do, or maybe you do have an assistant? Can you build it in something like Monday.com or Asana, or heck, even if you just want it to be free at first, like even like a Google Doc to like get it out of your brain. So you know what needs and what you want to be done, and then look at automating it. So like Monday.com, I mean, the sky's the limit with Monday, so we won't even get into that. But like you can automate so many things to where you don't need a person pressing the button or typing email, and follow us with lead sources. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Like if you're going to invest in leads, you have to have a way to track it. Otherwise, you're just pouring money down the drain.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll always need the human component. So yeah, it's a fine balance. But that the Monday software is allowing JM to scale. So there's no way that we could do such an elaborate listing process without her and without her assistant and without the software.
Yeah.
And then of course with Follow-Up Boss, I mean, we can automate as much as we want, but without that human component, I mean, there is no sale, right? So a lot of people automate themselves right out of business.
Yeah.
So it's not fine balance.
Don't do that. Don't think that you can automate everything, but it's definitely going to help you get from, I don't know how many houses you sold last year, Jessica, but it's, the human and the automated component is going to help you get to the 300 transactions. And then you can start to see how many people do I need within my admin team to support, from 25 to 35 agents and from this amount of transactions to 300. You can start to do that and then calculate that based on your goals and what you're going to need, and make sure that your process doesn't get dropped, when you're growing to that big.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're essentially doubling. The goal is to double. So
got that. Doubling your business in this market is tough, but I know you can do it.
Yeah. We feel really good about it. We were up 50% year over year from 2023 to 2024. So, I mean, that was a feat in and of itself while building out all of these systems and really like rowing the boat as we were building it big time.
Well, and you have some amazing people backing you up because you're with the Reside platform. When did you start with them?
I was one of the very first adopters of the Reside platform. So it was summer 2023 that I hopped on with them, July.
I mean, tell us a little bit. It sounds like you've grown your business considerably since you started with the Reside platform, and then goals to double from there. How is that kind of helping you achieve those goals?
Well, when I started with Reside, it was me, an admin, and one agent. And since I've been with Reside, I've recruited over 30 agents. I've grown to 5 staff members. Most of them are overseas, and one is here. And God, what haven't I like? I just feel like they've accelerated all of the learning. They've taken a lot of the bumps and bruises out. The growth is still uncomfortable, but I always have somebody to bounce questions off of. And the different personalities that own Reside are perfect. I know exactly who to go to for what, right? So I've got, Preston when I have like a techie question, and I have Sunit when it's just like, let's just talk about bottom line, man, and who doesn't love money, right? And then I've got Nick when I just need that like calming influence and the systematic influence. And then of course John when I need mindset. And so having all of those guys back me in my business has just, I don't know, like I feel like it's skyrocketed. And then all of the other team leaders in Reside, I have never felt like so at home in a real estate community. Just never. It means so much to me. I would never be where I am today if it weren't for them.
Love it. Yeah, I'm so excited to see what you do this year. And I also agree with all the different personalities. Like, who are you going to go to and message for the different parts of your business? Because so many of us sit there and do that, right? Like, there's so many times I'm in my office, like just talking to myself. Okay, what am I going to do about this situation? And you have a sounding board of like successful entrepreneurs who've already done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to pivot a little bit, and we're going to pivot to one of our icebreaker questions. So, Jessica, what is your superpower?
My superpower is reading people and situations. It always has been, like from a pretty young age. I talked a little bit about this at Conversion Con, how my family moved around quite a bit and I became the chameleon and I became like just super observant of everyone around me and whether, a little bit of that uncertainty can kind of evolve into maybe just wanting to make sure that everything is okay, right? And when you want to make sure everything is okay, as a child, you develop these like spidey senses. All right. Well, how are they feeling? What are they thinking? And to that, like owning that and bringing that into sales has been like critical, not only with clients, but then of course also with agents, right? Like I can sense pretty easily when somebody's uneasy or when they're needing something, something's not quite right. And with my clients, like I've always been able to read between the lines. And I like to think that acknowledging that about myself and being vulnerable about that like helps people feel comfortable around me. And that's another, I guess that's another powerful tool, like helping people be like allowing people to feel comfortable around me by just really like being myself, my washed out, sick, lit up self.
I think all of those are so important, especially in the industry you're in, right? Like it probably started with clients and agents on the other side of the deal. But now at the end of this year, you're going to have 35 agents that also are on your team, right? Like you need to be able to read them to understand how they're feeling and help them get through a lot of these things. And I think I love that your messaging is like helping them have a life too. But a lot of that takes like being able to read where are they at? What are they thinking? What are they struggling with? Because a lot of agents don't even really realize what they're struggling with.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're just having a hard time for whatever reason, and they're not able to communicate that to anyone. And most team leads don't generally care, right? It's like about production. Like, what are you doing? How many calls have you made? Blah, 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 which is important. Then it's like asking the question, do you have a life? When's the last time you saw your kid? You're missing birthday parties. Let's talk about that. Like, where can we put your time blocking or whatever in place?
Yeah. Yeah.
Report.
At the end of the day, it's not sustainable unless they can have balanced lives too. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm looking to do is to build longevity and quality. I don't think that we have to choose like quality versus quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And call me crazy. I don't know. Maybe I am, but I would like to have both.
What if you can? I think if you are true to yourself and you're honest when you're bringing these people into your team about what your intentions are, I feel like you can have both. You can have that Navy SEAL team that sticks with you for, I mean, not everyone's going to stick with you. It just happens. But I think you could have a good, solid team that you grow.
Yeah, definitely. And, I'm growing with the intention of creating agents that practice from the heart and also really know what they're talking about and can also read their people. And I want them to leave the nest. Like, if I've created a successful agent, they should go out and start their own team. That's like the name of the game, right? Like, just like we want our kids to be better than us, I want them to be better than me. It's a spirit of cooperation. And like, that's essential. The better that I can make them, the better than me they are, the more I can focus on growing and evolving in my new space. Like I'm growing as a leader. I have changed so much in the last 2 years, like serious growing pains. And there's so much now that I need to learn. So if they can take over that sales aspect and just become like straight up killers, then it allows me to do what I need to do on my end. And yeah, it makes me happy seeing agents succeed.
One of my friends a long time ago, and I'm probably going to butcher the whole saying, but she told me she had a real solid team that like never left her. She would always say, train them so well that they can go anywhere, but train them so well that they never want to leave. And I thought that was so powerful, right? Like, it's so simple. Like, train them so they can be better than you and sell more than you, do all these things, but train them so well they're invested in the future with you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's what you're working towards.
Yeah, I'd love to have my cake and eat it too. That'd be wonderful.
Well, Jessica, this has been super fun. Anybody that's listening in that wants to send you referrals or get to know you or learn more about Reside, where should we send them?
Sure. Let's see. So you can email me, Jessica at the letter J, BOSWELL team.com, Jessica at jboswellteam.com. You can also find me on Instagram, jboswellteam. And I'm really easy to find on Facebook too.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely.
Have a great day.
You too.